Good morning, guys. How you doing today? So this one was a request about a week ago, and Ed Cook, if you're around here, check this one out because this one's for you. Now, he requested that I put together a deck that had Radeyah, whether it be Skellige or whether it be Elves, and having been inspired in the past from Buddy Fuchsia Brief from Team Creve, I just felt like I wanted to expand on that and put together my version of the deck for 9.5, and the results will surprise you guys. Like, we did incredible in this video. These games were pretty well back to back. I think there was one game that I didn't include because I already had a double cross matchup in the list here, but pretty much everything else was just back to back, and it's awesome. So the idea of the deck and the explanation of the deck I'll put at the end of the video, so if you're here just for the gameplay it's a bit nicer for you, but there will be a timestamp in the description so you can reference that if you're just looking to learn how the deck works. And it looks like I turned off forgot to turn off my notifications for followers for Twitch, so thanks to you for the follow. I haven't been streaming a lot on Twitch simply because I haven't really been enjoying it as much as making these videos for you guys here. I find Twitch is a very saturated space, and it would probably be better for me to establish more of a presence on YouTube and then carry it over to Twitch. So if you guys want to see live streams in the future, don't forget to go and follow the Twitch channel. I haven't forgotten about it. There's just a better time and place to use that, and I find Twitch is one of those places where the more the merrier. So when I do hop back on the platform, we'll have a great time together. So let's get into it a bit more here. We're just playing down cards. Obviously, we don't have any duplicates in our hand, but we do have a lot of the self-wound sort of build that's going on. We have a lot of damage and cards to get Bloodthirst on their side of the playing field, so we're able to, use some of our good cards like Arnaghad later on in the round and Eist. So I haven't had a situation where either of those ones brick. Nilfgaard's a scary matchup too, especially when they're playing an Assimilate archetype. We have a lot of good warriors that they can copy, and especially something like the Raider in round 1, if they're able to give that spying or make a copy of that, that would be kind of annoying. Obviously, bringing that back somehow, if they were able to clone the Fuchsia, right? It's not too hard with Terra Nova. That could just amount for a lot of points. So I would say that this matchup is not favored for us. And the Adepts in there, it just goes down. You could put that beside like a Haymay Protector. You could also just put it down and Megascope it. We have a couple Megascope targets like the Bears from the Savage Primal Savagery, or the Adepts, or the Bear Witchers, or the Savage Bear. There's a lot of different reasons to have that there. I tried to get creative with the lower provision cards. Just tried to maximize the value that we got from everything. I was counting, like, when it came to 4 provisions, I made sure we got at least 6 points. When it came to 5 provisions, I was aiming for 8 points. Because we didn't have a lot of synergy beyond that. It's very difficult to do so when you don't have pairs of something, or there's really good cards that you just want to double up on. So far, we haven't really committed a lot in the round. It's nice that we're playing on this side of the coin, because I would imagine that with the thinning packages that Nilfgaard has, and cards like DMT and stuff like that, it would be very difficult for us to get out of the round without losing on even. So right now they have 4 engines on their side of the board, 3 of which are just gaining points automatically every turn, and we only have 1 here. So I'm looking for some sort of point swing to keep us in the round. And the reason why I went and took that here is because there is consideration to play Arnaghad in this round. just because it would require a Yennefer's Invocation or a Heat Wave, and then they wouldn't have it for later on, which is ideal. Also kind of traps them in the round. It'll be difficult for them to play cards if we have it on the board, and then we have the ability to heal it with location too. So we got the pass before we could use it. We know they're going to gain 3 points at the end of the turn if we just hit that. I don't even think we need to click location. It brings us ahead. Good move for them. I'm just not convinced that I saw a lot, especially when we want to actually hold a lot of our good cards for later in the round. It's going to be tricky with their leader, so I'd rather see it now than later in round 3. We have the location on the board, so it's kind of nice to see. Put back Megascope there, it's just too slow. Fukushia in hand, that's really good. All we have to do here is get the Radeyah, so the O'Neill really comes in clutch, and I think at this point, this looks like a jamming hand. If you guys are playing this deck, you get inspired from the video, you want to go ahead and play it, make sure if you have a hand like this, you know, it's just the one that you go with. There's no reason to take a long round here when you have such a good hand. Radeyah down. It's probably got them panicking at this point, right? And if they didn't know what it was, now they kind of have an idea, I'm sure. It's not the first time this sort of thing's been played before. It's just been a while since I've seen something like this.
They will dance to our beat, sing to our tune.
The spying's kind of ugly, but the only thing I'm worried about getting spying would be Fukushia, really. We don't have anything that Morkvark's really gonna benefit from if they use. Eist is not really good to them. Arnaghad's okay if they take it. We apply the pressure right away, guys. Big no mercy move.
No retreat, not one step.
Now, it's a little bit of a gamble, obviously, not knowing what we're going to pull into. Normally, if it's towards the end of a game or we have Judah in hand, that's ideal, then we can just discard that. But it's one of those things where I'm pretty confident with what we got anyways. Savage Bear, and then Berserker. It's still a lot of points for one turn, especially when you put the leader down and Eist in the same turn. If someone could do the math on that, you got 4, 11's 15... I don't even feel like counting right now. It's just huge. We don't need to count in Gwent. So yeah, that's a really good Morkvark. There was consideration to hold on to it a bit longer, but I just felt like I want to really push, because if I need to get out of the round, I want to get our card back. So they have leader and 2-card advantage, which is super important. And thinking about what they could Fukushia here might provoke me to play it next. Fukushia is also pretty nice because you can get the rain on the front row, give more bloodthirst to them, and then it helps us out with a bigger damage range for the Arnaghad. And I gotta say, guys, this is probably one of the most, like, unconventional decks that I've done. Something that, if you look at it, you're like, there's no way that's gonna work. So make sure you stick around for this one here so you can actually see it in action, because if you don't pilot it the way it's intended to be played, then it's just not gonna work. We have a pretty healthy lead here. I'm hoping so badly that they don't take leader this turn, because if they don't take leader this turn, they're left with not so great cards. You know, they're left with either 4 damage or 6 damage. So it is what it is. Good play to take the 2 damage off the 1. And now they die for leader. I guess we would have expected that, right? Just in case kind of thing. I'm feeling pretty spicy here. The rain on the front row helps us out too. We can use the location. And even if now they play a card, 20 points in one card is pretty much impossible.
Please wait, Your Excellency. Falling behind.
And fortunately we don't have any units to play, so the copy of the Arnaghad, and they know this from seeing our hand, we don't have any units. Still a 20-point lead, maintaining. Rain on their side for 2 more turns. I'm thinking that we have the opportunity at this point to 2-0. If we don't have 2-0, then we can at least get out Terra Nova or the Yennefer's Invocation or the Heat Wave or whatever sort of tall punish they have. I'm just thinking, is it really worth taking? It doesn't matter. You can hit whatever you want at this point as long as you're doing the full damage. So 43 to 64 with 2 cards left. They're going to be getting 2 more damage worth of rain. Big Heat Wave on the 11. And just couldn't come up with the points. So off meta for the win, guys. Moving on to game number 2, Line Pockets. Seeing a lot of this come back lately. It's stronger than it looks. Even with the nerf to drill, it's still a very good deck. Luckily, we're on red coin again. I have to say it's definitely better going second with this deck. It still has some blue coin points and everything, but it might result in us committing a bit more than what we'd like. Some of the plays are a bit slower, like the Adepts and the Megascope and stuff like that, but overall, it still can compete on blue. Hopefully we have a game where we go first here. Now, there's consideration to put out the Hunter first, but I feel like it's probably better just to play the Raging Bear because I don't want to take 2 damage off our own unit just to have a cooldown of 1 turn less on that. Doesn't make sense to me. Big shout out to 3 Jersey 3 for the follow. Yeah, I gotta turn those off. Not like it matters, but...
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Haymay comes down. Let's capitalize on the bleeding here. Let's make the coins spent for nothing. And then you can look at engineering out things like the Berserker. But I do think I want to put down the Brockvar Hunter first. And when you're playing cards, try to play them to the left or right of... Ooh. Pesky that card is. They just had enough of it. Spend all the coin you got just to take care of it. Now, we still have space and time to put this down here. The round's not too far behind us, and the bleeding on the Haymay Protector is enough that, you know, we can just put down the Berserker beside it and keep it going. We have Bloodthirst 1. So now we can focus on maybe taking care of, or sorry, just putting down the our engine here, right? Getting that extra boost per turn is kind of nice.
No, damn it!
Berserker only takes 2 turns to flip, but the Adept takes 4 turns to heal, so we have to sequence it that way. A lot of engines in the deck because I felt like that was kind of one of the ways that we were going to be able to take a round. We have a really control heavy round and we have an engine round. This Heimei has been through so much. Countless bleeding charges, tavern brawl, just dodged a payday, like it's going through the ringer here. But hangs on by 1. It'll heal up to 2 after this. So it doesn't look like we have a lot here, but we actually do have enough to keep us in the race. On a pass, we have a Morkvarg. So I don't necessarily want to go and play it just yet, because we can probably provoke a pass right here and just get it over with. That's too bad that the charge hits the back row, but it is what it is. And again, you see playing things to the left of Protector. It could be on either side, but Berserker was still ticking. So lots of cards that self-wound on deploy. It does synergize with that card. If we don't pull Heimei, it's not a big deal either way. So looking for something that we can play that's enough points without spending it too much or tying or whatever. Just feels easier just to play this card and move on. Perfect. So we got through the round with spending, was it 1 gold card? Bronze is for Skellige, put in work. They're some of my favorites. We got Eist here. Got Jutta here. We have Oniro here. You see what I'm thinking? You see the vision. It's all coming together right now. We gotta crank it, guys. Card down does not matter. Because here's the issue. It plays similar to Lippy or Vi in the sense that your tempo is all you have. And if you take your time in a long round, 3, especially with more engine prominent decks or super control decks, you know, couple tall punishes, couple engine punishes, you're done. So we have to bleed out everything they have in round 2. And we do a really good job at doing that, even in some cases gaining card advantage, even though we started down. You'll see what I mean. Leader comes down, they have 0 points on the board. This is a textbook example. Discard the Jutta. Mask of Ouroboros. Hate to say it, but the on-crate Warcry is not what we want. I'm chucking it down here because I feel like at least it's an engine that's starting to tick based on our leader. Now that's one of the annoying cards we have to get rid of. And you could consider doing the, like, if you have Coral in hand, you could put down Coral and not use the order first to get more damage off the combo, but that's really greedy, so I would just recommend only doing that when you're not playing against a control deck, because Coral getting killed, it does slow down your momentum a little bit too. You saw here 12 card, or 17 points, 3 cards. They could probably do it with Siggy here, right?
My lads will make sure of that. You're lucky to keep your feet. Next time it'll be personal.
There you go. So we went from being down a card to being up a card. Huge. Full leader commitment. Siggy down. Big spenders down. And we still have some points to play, right? We didn't waste everything here. Akusha is going to be massive. Of course. Streamer luck. That looks like the hand. The only thing I'm thinking about is taking away the offering, because I felt like offering sucks in short round. And we can actually coral and maybe,
I can do a great deal.
yeah, just chuck the boat, do 2 damage, and then primal that, boom, 8-point play. Hee Just drop them down and see what they do about it, right? I put this down before we use primal just because we have the bloodthirst. We want to get that extra armor on us. Otherwise we lose a point. The only thing I'm worried about here is a Vivaldi Bank top decking Philippa, but what are the odds, right? Professor's pretty good. They had a lot of trouble dealing with the first one. It's a short round, so the rain doesn't really give us a lot of value. I'm thinking about what's take with Fuchsia, looking if there's anything better to play. I'm thinking that Arnaghad's probably just the play. Bring him right back. Gets the extra armor too, because the bloodthirst too. And I was actually scared in this moment, because if they come out with top deck like 1 or 2, they have 7 coin, they steal that. But a lot of decks aren't running Philippa right now. They're dedicating the coin to just steady removal. So that was probably the best thing that they can pull. That's fine. We take the primal here. And Gourd, I love to see it in Syndicate. Back in the day, I had this deck guide called The Life of Crime, and it was a Gourd crime deck. It was okay. It was fun though. There you go, you saw how it would have worked. Either way, we didn't get the order on the Raider, but we got the win. Back to Nilfgaard, guys, and you know, like I said, today are serious matchups that you're going to get a lot. The nitty-gritty ones that when you see these in the queue, you don't even want to play it against. I want to give you guys a reason to feel excited to play against Nilfgaard and Syndicate and all these other factions that do pesky stuff. So we got our own strat, and it's even peskier today. They go first. You know what? I actually think all the games today might be on red coin. Yeah, I think the next one's going to be on red coin as well. Damn. That's coincidental. I didn't sit here and play twice the amount of games. That's the luck we got today. You guys can let me know how it works on blue for you guys over time. I don't think it should be that bad. Because if you can't take a round, you can certainly just try and get out of a round. It's pretty standard to like the meta SK where they have, you know, the Megascope reach and stuff like that, so. There was also a consideration to put in a skirm and some discards, but I felt like beyond just having the discards we needed to set up the Eist, it didn't really matter a whole lot for us here. And I didn't want to be left with a bunch of useless cards, like a 4 power skirm. And normally when decks are running full-blown discard, they're not running Oniro. So I felt like it was justified that we didn't put the Burna and a skirm and a Morkvarg in this case. And just put the points where they could be used a bit more effectively. So taking the Hunter there because the cooldown's a thing, we want to make sure we have obviously some reach there. I pinged down something else to make another 2 just in case, so we have 2 2s for the Primal Savagery. Wouldn't have mattered, Assassination's just a good card. We'll go ahead and take that one here. Keep the Bloodthirst on the side. It doesn't make sense to get rid of the card that's red. Got like a game and a half left, and I'm really hoping we get through it before the groceries arrive. I got like a free 2-month trial to some like app where you can order groceries, so I thought that I could multitask and get this done in the meantime, but I just saw the text message that the guy checked out, so hopefully, like I said, nope. I'll just let the stuff sit out there for a few minutes. It's mostly non-perishable in this case. Armor up goes down. That's a little annoying for our offering to the sea, but it's not too bad. And you see we have tons of reach in the round. Morkvarg was good as soon as they played Dead Man's Tongue. We can bring back Morkvarg later if we want to beat down one of the Joachim plays. And that just keeps us ahead. As far as commitments go, really, you've seen based on the last 2 games that we can play 1 gold card and we can just be pretty lucky with that. The bronzes, like I said, really carry. I think at some point they have to realize that they're probably going to lose on even, or they'll have to come out with something really big. Like, there we go, Brathens.
True love could lift the curse, but who would love?
Everyone has their secrets. Everyone.
Bear off the token, smarter play. And I'm really not that worried. Gutting Slash gets so good value here, plays for 6 off the Bloodthirst 2. If I was doing like a full-blown Patricidal Fury Warriors deck, you definitely want to put 2 of those Gutting Slashes in there, but in this event we had to keep it to 1. That's a card I really wish I had 2 of. They pass, I pass. I decide for the content, guys. The movement, FTC. We want to take this in 2. I have what I need. I just need that 1 card. I'm feeling lucky today. So, looking for it. Looking for it. Don't get it. Okay. At that moment I realized that kind of sucks, you know? And we have no choice either. We just have to go for it. Like, passing on even is, like, it could be good, it could be bad, you know? It really just depends. We have 1 more emergency discard here to try and get something good. Like, if I pull into Eist, then we'll just Eist for Jutta, call it a day. But otherwise, we're in trouble. Here come all the points. And Coral. We get a second spin, guys. Put back the Mardrome, it's too risky. We don't want to go super tall, because that's me thinking my turn was over, dummy. Go ahead, click. Feels bad, man. Tuck back the Adept. Here's the thing, though. We can actually play Jutta from hand when they go taller. 90% says they take the Joachim again with the coup. They pull into something with Assimilate. It's taller than 12. The Jutta goes down, doesn't get damaged. You see.
With our aid or without it. I shall flog them into submission.
It's like gonna be a little bit effort to get that up, but that's fine.
The senses can be fooled easily. No good wine will come from here, not even composted.
And it doesn't really matter for us there. When they lock the Coral, the damage has already been done. You guys are probably starting to think I made a mistake passing on even. Should have took the long round 3. Just wait. You'll see. We make the impossible happen on this channel, man.
Her grace will not be pleased.
And Nilfgaard does thin down a bit nicer, so chances are they pretty much have all their win conditions
May Freya choose the victor.
in their hand. No rush to play our leader here. And Fuchsia is
Have you gaze at me, son?
not a bad thing to play last. I was thinking about it, but there's no reason. Like, they have assimilate procs and everything. So we'll put this down, try to mitigate some of the tall units that we have a little bit. There we go. Just kind of spread out the points a bit more. Make it a 11-point removal instead of a 12. And then, you know the play. See? I knew something was coming, whether it was that or Yennefer's Invocation or both. I'm doing some math here, and I'm looking at if Yen's enough points, if Terra Nova's enough points. It's one of the two. Morkvar goes down and cranks on that 13. So now they have whatever's in hand plus 1 leader charge. And I'm actually going to pause it after this. Like, it'll be fluent for you guys, but I gotta go get the food outside. Like, I can't be leaving groceries outside. I don't even know how long the next game is, so.
Don't snap your spout at me.
Gets the beast with the leader. We have a 3-point win. Alright, I'm back. And last game's going to be against monsters. We have Overwhelming Hunger. And this archetype received huge buffs lately. I did a deck guide on it about a week ago, so if you haven't seen that one, definitely check it out. For anybody looking to play monsters, very easy deck to pilot. Lots of points. It would definitely really help you out if you're a new player to the game as well. Not overly expensive to craft. And like I said, I don't know what's with it today with the coin. We've got another red coin game, but you see just how strong it is on red. I stepped outside. It's almost noon at this point. Like, I've been up for some time, but it's still below 0. It's probably our first day below 0 of the year. So we played right into the Imperial Mana Core. That's fine. Seeing something like that come out early is just fine with us. And we don't necessarily want to kill either of the cards. We just want to have them damaged. Toad Prince comes out, eats the boat. Huge commitments. These are very important, but now I feel a little bit safer playing Brockvar. And I'm just looking to get some Bloodthirst on the board in case we need it. Now, Maruna down would be perfect, but we're not too lucky there. We do have to worry about them consuming the Mana Core still. Hoping that it gets rid of something else besides the Brockvar Hunter, so we're playing around that. But we are down by quite a bit. Having them spent 2 golds early on, it's obviously going to create a bit of a gap. So at this point, I don't know if we can take round 1. Seeing one of the Harpies comes down sort of helps reduce the bonded effect later. I figured 25 to 4. We can't get it in 1. I'm certainly not going to take leader here. It's a win condition. So let's just, you know, play humble, pass here, go on to fight in round 2. If they try and bleed us, we have resources to defend the bleed, but doing a way big overcommitment on round 1 doesn't make sense to me. So we have some of the pieces here of what we want to see in endgame. I don't think we need a Megascope here. And we do have like a pass card, I guess Bear Witcher. We can fish with O'Neill for something. Kind of annoying, isn't it? A lot of things that we play here don't remove it, and I'm thinking that they're gonna try and just continue to proc that every turn and then finally consume it. So I just said whatever. On a pass, we still get ahead here because ours will flip to 6. They proc it, then we lose that, but at least we get the ping on it, so now I can actually just remove it and prevent them from doing it a second time, a third time, a fourth time, who knows, right? It's sort of like the budget Arnaghad, really, the 5 provision or whatever. So we get the pass here that we're looking for. They get back their card, but I don't think that we care too much about that. We still really haven't spent any golds in the game, so our round 3 is going to be absolutely stacked. And we have most of what we need to win the game, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. When Nero comes out, offering's huge when you're playing against Haunt. So many tokens on the board from their side. And that's just a good hand. We have Oniro to fish for maybe our Arnaghad or the location. Judda's going to be discarded from hand. It's looking pretty good here. I'm putting out the Raiders so that if they take a Parasite, we have a really good Vicucia. It makes sense to me. Haunt comes down, pretty nice. Now, I know one of the ways that we're going to be winning this game is to deny them from going tall. Or going wide rather, we want them to go pretty tall, and a lot of the decks run a K-Ran to give the points immunity after the fact. I've even done it, so I'm respecting that. I see a really clean way to remove one of their engines here by taking that little thin, and for what it's worth, we're going to be engineering off the Coral a lot more than you'd think because we have the Radeyah for that and the whole Eist discard. So Coral gets much better value in this matchup, but I'm glad I have this example for you guys here because it really shows you how much Coral can do even with this deck, you know, not just a typical discard deck. And then next turn we can do the combo. And we have to not greed our Morkvarg too much. If I see anything, let's say that 12's even looking kind of nice, you know? But if I see anything like in this height range, that 12 or higher, I'm considering taking the Morkvarg on it, because at the end when they give all their points immunity, then I don't have anything to tall punish something we can't specifically target. Really, you'd only be able to get it if you're playing like Curse of Corruption or something like that, or like a Yurden, Igni, whatever the case. Two beautiful discards. Radeyah plus Eist. Oh, it's like crazy points. Imagine we gave that up in round 1, that would be horrible. We're sitting on a comfortable 20-point lead, too. And that's after Detlef was played. So 14's looking pretty good. 15's looking even better. That's a 9-point, 10-point damage on the Morkvarg. So we want to get some value from the rain. Berserker feels pretty good. Hopefully we ping the back row in this case. Of course. But hopefully we don't ping that rat in the front. We want to get some good value on the rain. And then we have to Mork Varg soon, because if we don't Mork, then we're losing value on its reset. Right, before it gets too late. Them playing on melee, I don't know if that was the best move. It might have costed them points because of the rat. If the rat goes, then... Exactly, so now they have rain regardless. On 2 instead of just 1. And I want to play around a heat wave a little bit. So, and also, you know, I just want to have the Marjoram on the 3 armor as well. So waiting to the last turn makes sense to me. Getting rid of some points on their side. K-Ran comes down and it really just doesn't make a difference. Now I know that even a heat wave on that isn't going to be enough to make the difference for the game. And this just looks like a classic example of them having too many consumes with not enough payoff cards in round 3. It's too bad. Alright, so let's go over the deck really quick here. We've just played 4 games so you guys can see how it rolls out, but just to kind of go over the card selection and why we did it. Oneiromancy is super important because we need Fukusha, we need Eist, we need Radeyah. Without these cards, it's very hard to win games, so having that consistency matters, especially with less tutors in the deck overall. There's not a lot for the thinning and whatnot, so it makes it certainly much better. Fukushas to bring back, Arnaghad or Mork Varg, ideally, if you know we have Tall Punish or Engine Punish in around 3, but as a backup we have great targets like the Drone Berserker, Ankh-Rate Raiders, Brock for Hunters, whatever the case may be, because we'll get tons of rain on their side of the playing field, which is going to help contribute to Bloodthirst, making Arnaghad that much better, and making Eist work if we don't want to use Leader, let's say, at that same time. So it gives us a little bit of variety there. Of course, Mork Varg, Tall Punish, pretty standard. It's either that or a Heat Wave, but because we have Fukusha, Mork Varg just makes sense to me. Caduce generates tons of points. We have the ability to pick the Bear Witcher Mentor for our Point Slam. We have the Bear Witcher for Removal Reach. We have the Quartermaster for Self-Swarm and Proactivity, so there's a few options there. I usually don't look to take the Bear Witcher Adept in this deck. I think it's probably the weakest option that you have. Coral's there just to kind of help fix things up a little bit, and if we have time to play Coral in the whole sequence where we're doing the Radeyah and the Eist, we can put this down first if we have space and time to get extra value off of the discards that we're doing. We're doing 2 discards, so we're going to be getting an extra 4 points of damage off Coral, so it just makes sense to have it here. I have nothing in the way of wide punish, so offering to the sea is my way of doing this, and since we have a lot of units on our side of the playing field as well, you know, being able to self-damage them is actually pretty good. And some of the units we have armor or whatever the case, or would be beside Heimei, so we're actually not losing all the points that we would lose otherwise. So offering to the sea just makes sense. Jutta can be played from hand if the opponent has a taller unit than you. However, you kind of want to save it for the discard sequence with Eist. So pulling into that, holding onto that is what you want to do if it's going into round 3. And just going to ensure we have tons of points on our side of the playing field. I know a lot of people might have played Blaze of Glory where generally you'll stick this back in the deck. It's not the case here. And Giga Scorpion is great for removal reach, of course. We don't have too many cards that are going to do direct pings that are targeted to different units, so Giga Scorpion helps take care of the Aparian Phantoms, the whatever the case is. There's always going to be some sort of engine in that 5 to 6 power that you want to get rid of. Raging Bear is one of our proactive plays. We have Bear Witcher for just a good value for 5. Really, a lot of the 5s and 4s that I have are just really good trade-ups for what they're worth. Mardrome could be used on the Adept, it could be used on the Arnaghad, or it could be used on something beside the Protector, so it's pretty versatile there. Megascope just copies an 8. If we can't copy an 8, we can copy a 7. And again, a lot of cards that damage themselves, and by putting them beside the Heimei, it just makes a lot of sense. A bit of an engine here, a lot of engines in the Bronze End, so that's pretty much it. And the strategy is basically to try and win on even in round 1 and push for a 2-0, or just get to round 3 and try to keep it a shorter round 3. So we don't mind being bled here. If you lose round 1, it's not the end of the world. You can get bled. As long as you can preserve this little combo that we have in store here, you're fine. And I don't think a lot of the opponents are going to be expecting you to play this, especially Arnaghad and Eist and Radeyah. It seems like something you just wouldn't see every day. So I think that you're going to get a lot of wins off surprise value. And you watch the games that we had, guys, they were against pretty top tier decks. So you see how it works. And I hope you have a good time playing it. Let me know how it goes in the comments. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll see you tomorrow.